right now, today, how are you doing when it comes to your mental health? What state are you in? Are you strengthening? Are you struggling? Too often, there is more focus on tending to our outside, our external, than our internal. And today, we're going to jump into the aspect of how do we cardio, weight train for our mind. So I believe with all my heart when it comes to mental health, there's been more momentum going towards awareness. But even with awareness, it's so easy for our own personal journey to kind of slip through the cracks. We get towards the beginning of a new year and it's, I want to lose a little weight, I want to tone, or I want to eat better. And those can often be easier to be found on the forefront than when it comes to our internal. And so I want to look at a few different components of our mental health today. And the first is going to be what I call mind the gap. So if you've ever been to England, London in particular, you're on the tubes, before you get on, there's that reminder of mind the gap. What does that mean? Well, you jump over this little sliver between the tube that you're going to get on, the platform, and there's a little gap that you don't want to get your foot stuck in because that's not going to lead to anything good. But it's very similar to our own mental health, where there can be a gap between what's our external and our internal that we can get caught and not connecting because they connect significantly, and how important it is to tend to ourselves. The reality is that no one really knows the state of our own personal mental health besides us. And even if you confide in a friend, a family member, you are talking to a therapist, they can be aware, but the full level of awareness, the full level of how I'm feeling really kind of lies within you. For us to mind the gap, to create a connection, it lies within us. And man, can that be a struggle sometimes. Our journey is our own. As human beings, it's easy for us to have kind of an endpoint. Well, I'm for the next 6 months going to do this when it comes to myself. I'm for the next 60 days, and I'm not in any way dismissing those goals. But what I want to throw out there is that when it comes to our own mental wellness, it is a linear, ongoing, lifetime journey, not an obligation, but a journey in order for our mental health to be on the track to wellness. And there will be different times of year, times and chapters in our life where the battle, that journey could be more arduous, it could be more pleasant. It varies. And mental health, our mental wellness is a journey. This awareness of where you're at is super important. You struggle with depression, different times of the year. Awareness and minding that gap of how do I connect myself is wildly important. It is so easy for us to place ourselves on the back burner and spend more time on other people, or even on, I'm going to go for a walk. Walks are awesome. Walks actually help me, and I would say probably most of you listening, when it comes to de-stressing me, limiting my stress. But there's another facet of it. What are we doing to focus and strengthen our own mental health? And what the heck does that look like? Do we have kind of a vision for what that is? And so this gets us to our next part of focusing on our own journey, and where it's allowing ourselves to take a step back. Man, can this be hard? And not looking at other people's journeys where we compare and contrast, where we're falling short, or we feel like, hey, we're doing better, which is crazy train. We are on our own individualized journey, and stopping comparing, contrasting where we are compared to other people. This also gets us into this place where we can maybe be guilty of judging others or feeling judged ourselves. As human beings, it's like, man, you're walking around and you've got a wheelchair, you're walking around and you have crutches, and it's like, can I hold this door for you? Or can I take these bags? Or can I? And how can we step up and help this person? But when it comes to mental health, for the most part, you cannot see the external of it. It is an internal manifestation that can absolutely become external, whether that be weight gain, whether that be you're seeing it on somebody's face, crying. But for the crux of what we're going to look at today, you can't see it. There have been days the past year, my own personal life, it has been really hard. I have struggled with anxiety. I've struggled with levels of stress and frustration and depression in ways that I really haven't before. And when you would look at me, unless you really, really, really know me, everything seems fine. Learning to be honest with ourselves, my friends. And I am on this journey just like you. Take a step back, take a deep breath, and where am I? And life can be crazy, where it's like, I don't have time. It's finding ways in one way or another to make time. Where am I? You know, I went for a run the other day, or, I'm working on, doing a 100 push-up challenge. But where am I when it comes to my physical compared to my mental? How am I doing? And how do I mind that gap? How do I bridge that gap? I'm gonna make sure I'm taking time to do things that I enjoy. What are things that bring you joy? Whether it's writing, it's reading, it's going for that walk, it's going for a bike ride, it's joining, a certain hobby that you like doing. It could also be this, where taking out things in your life. What are things that are not positive triggers, that are negative triggers? Whether it be, okay, I'm cutting down on social media time, whether it's, this person that I'm around a lot is stressing me out and putting things in my head that are just toxic. Well, coming up with ways that, okay, I can't 100% not have this person in my life, but it's bobbing and weaving and finding ways. Toxic humans can beat the living heck out of us. They could drain us in ways that affect us physically and emotionally. Finding time to not have noise in our head, and in today's world that's really hard. Driving in the car, and even if it's just for a few minutes, windows down or no radio on, and just allowing ourselves to get in our head. And sometimes you can say, I don't want to be in my head. I hear you on that. But if we're not in our head, things just stack up, things just thicken, things become more complicated. And taking time to just, sometimes it's doing some internal mental renovations. And it's, well, what the heck does that look like? I'm taking time to just redo things in my head. And this gets us to our third bullet point today, which is looking at, it is okay to not be okay, but it's not okay to continue an ongoing state of not being okay. How am I going to get on this journey where I'm going to get some rocking cardio and weight training for my brain? I want to be in a better place. I want to be in a place where I'm not running from my thoughts. I want to be in a place that my mental health, my journey isn't looking at something that I'm like, I'm dreading it. We could dread it. And you know what? That's okay. I've been there. Oh, but this is where we get knocked down, we get back up again. We stumble, we get back up again. It is a pursuit. And how this journey can make us better. And we are human, and we screw up, and we struggle, and we can have these thoughts in our head that we just beat the crud out of ourselves. You screwed up again. Man, you're right back where you were last year. All right, but you're still breathing. You're still here. Let's keep going. It's learning, it's pressing forward, and it's going. It is a journey. Every journey has glitches. And I believe there's things that happen truly for a reason. I remember, I had a connecting ticket where I was in Munich, and I had like 4 hours that was going to connect me to Prague. And I ended up down in the brew houses, right? And this is when I was in my early 20s, made some not great decisions, and ended up not being able to make the train, right? I literally missed my train. I started pulling out of the station. I'm by myself. It's like 2:00 in the morning in Munich. I have no money. And long story short, I didn't make it to Prague, and I woke up getting beaten by a billy club in a bus station, long story short. But it led me down the road where I wouldn't have ended up going to different places in Europe if I had gone and made my train. And you could say, well, that sounds insane. But you know what? It's all how we look at it. Let's stop being so hard on ourselves. We can be so hard on ourselves. It is a journey. And I will tell you, one of the things that my journey that I am becoming more increasingly aware that I can be really hard on myself. I can try to hold the reins with everything. And I don't know where you're at in your personal journey. I don't know where your faith lies, but I will tell you, for me personally, waking up every day and throughout the course of my day and at night, asking God for wisdom and peace and direction and stop leaning on myself, has made a profound difference in my life. And it's something that I seek and I pursue every day. It makes a huge difference when it comes to my mental health. I am not perfect. I screw up. I'm human. And knowing that I can kind of hand over the reins to my creator is pretty rad and pretty awesome. So when it comes to our journey, make it your own. Knowing it's a journey, minding that gap, connecting your physical and your mental, and how much of a difference it makes. Knowing their goals, but the journey's ongoing. The journey continues. The pursuit, this marathon that never ends, is a beautiful thing. And for that marathon to never end and for us to be where we need to be, for any runner, for anyone who does any form of working out, you got to stretch. You stretch your arms, you stretch your legs, you do twists. Same thing with our brain and our minds. Allowing ourselves to stretch, allowing ourselves to take care of ourselves. It comes in so many different forms, my friends. And if you're in a funky place, if you're not okay, do not allow yourself to do it solo. We're not supposed to be islands. Allowing yourselves to just reach out to somebody, to find some sort of support, to just take time to breathe and pray about where you are and what you really want. What is your heart's desire? Be kind to yourself. And know, no matter where you're at, no matter what your past is, that you were amazing, you were awesome, and allowing your purpose to shine through, and that God loves you, and you're not supposed to do this alone. I truly wish you from the bottom of my heart a profound amount of peace, love, and goodness, my friends. And I'd love for you to consider, if you're looking for some forms of kind of feeding yourself and tending yourself, I'd love for you to check out one of my books that you can find on Amazon. I have Peace, Love, and Goodness Lessons from the Drug Lady, a higher level of goodness lessons from the Drug Lady. And my third and latest book is Conversations for Good, lessons from our neighbors around the world. And it's our 10-month journey around the world, really in pursuit of kindness. And kindness is so much closer to us than we often realize. Today, my friends, know you're not alone and know that you're awesome. Peace, love, and goodness.